Have you ever sat quietly in the early morning steam rising from a cup of tea, a bird calling somewhere in the distance, the gentle rhythm of your breath, and asked yourself, what does it really mean to be happy? We live in an age of abundance. Never before has humanity had so much access to comfort technology and possessions. Yet, if we are honest, many of us feel more restless, more dissatisfied, and more anxious than ever before. There is a strange paradox here. The more we accumulate, the less we seem to feel whole. Perhaps this is because happiness is not something that can be bought, collected, or stored away. True happiness does not lie in the latest possession, the perfect circumstance, or the admiration of others. It is not out there waiting for us to finally earn enough or prove enough. Instead, happiness is something quieter, something closer. It is a seed already planted inside us, waiting for us to notice, to nurture, and to let it bloom. But how do we live in a way that allows that seed to grow? One answer is deceptively simple: to return again and again to the basics. To remember that happiness comes not from what we own, but from how we choose to see, to feel, and to live. It comes from knowing what is enough, from beginning again each morning as if life were fresh, and from blooming gracefully even in the rocky soil of hardship. This journey is not about adding more, but about uncovering what has always been there. Over the next 12 reflections, we will explore different ways of living that invite happiness back into our daily lives. We will draw on ancient Stoic wisdom, practical examples, and gentle stories to see how each of us can cultivate peace and joy no matter where life has placed us. And before we begin, I'd like to invite you into the conversation. Share in the comments. What does happiness mean to you? Where have you found it in your own life? If these reflections resonate with you, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so we can walk this path of wisdom and serenity together. We grow up surrounded by the idea that happiness can be bought. Advertisements whisper promises. A new phone will make you feel connected. A new car will make you feel powerful. A bigger house will finally make you feel secure. From childhood onward, we are conditioned to believe that the next purchase, the next achievement, the next possession will unlock the happiness we are missing. For a brief moment, it seems to work. Think of the last time you bought something new, a shirt, a pair of shoes, maybe even something bigger, like a new piece of furniture or a shiny device. There is a surge of joy when you first unwrap it, when you wear it, when you hold it in your hands. Psychologists call this the novelty effect, but that joy fades quickly. The shirt becomes just another shirt hanging in your closet. The car that once filled you with pride now feels normal in the morning commute. What was once new and exciting blends into the background, and soon you begin to want something else. This cycle is endless. Our brains are wired to adapt. What once thrilled us becomes ordinary, and we start craving the next thing. That is why people with vast fortunes still often feel dissatisfied. They move from one luxury to the next, convinced that happiness lies just around the corner, yet the corner keeps moving. The truth is simple but unsettling. Possessions can bring comfort, but they cannot create lasting happiness. They are tools, conveniences, sometimes even blessings, but they are not the source of joy. Imagine trying to fill a deep well with buckets of sand. No matter how much you pour in, the well is never truly full. That is what it feels like when we rely on possessions to bring us peace. Contrast this with the quiet joy that arises from within. Think about the contentment of sharing a meal with loved ones, or the deep calm you feel when watching the sunset. These moments require no grand purchase, no special object, no material possession. They are free, Yet they linger in the heart much longer than the thrill of buying something new. Happiness that depends on possessions is fragile. It can be taken away in an instant by a downturn in the economy, by theft, by the natural passing of time. If your sense of joy is tied to what you own, then your happiness is always at the mercy of forces you cannot control. But happiness that is rooted in gratitude, presence, and inner peace cannot be stolen. It is yours independent of circumstances. This doesn't mean we should renounce all material things. Possessions can serve a purpose. A warm coat protects you in winter. A safe home shelters you from storms. A comfortable chair supports your body. The key is to see them as means, not ends. They are tools that help us live, not treasures that define our worth. When we mistake them for the source of happiness, we hand over our freedom. Consider two neighbors. One spends every weekend at the mall, chasing sales, upgrading gadgets, and endlessly comparing what she has to what others display on social media. She feels excited for a moment, but emptiness creeps in when the novelty wears off. The other neighbor spends her weekends in the garden, cultivating vegetables, watching butterflies, laughing with friends over tea. She has fewer things but more joy. Who is truly richer? The shift begins when we stop asking, "What do I need to buy to be happy?" and start asking, "What already makes me happy that no money can purchase?" Perhaps it is a morning walk, a heartfelt conversation, or the ability to notice the small wonders around us. These things don't depreciate like possessions. They grow more precious the more we practice them. Happiness is not about owning more. It is about seeing more clearly, recognizing the abundance that already exists in our lives. When you realize this, you free yourself from the exhausting race of always wanting more. The Stoics understood this truth long before modern psychology gave it a name. Epictetus, who was born into slavery and owned almost nothing, taught that wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. For the Stoics, true happiness was never about the external world. It was about mastering the inner world, the judgments, desires, and choices that lie within our control. Seneca warned of the endless hunger for more. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor. In their wisdom, possessions are neither good nor bad. They are indifference. What matters is how we relate to them. When we treat them as necessary for happiness, we chain ourselves to them. When we treat them as tools, we remain free. Happiness, then, is not about adding possessions, but subtracting the need for them. There is a simple truth, hidden in plain sight. People who know what is enough are the ones who live the happiest lives. To know enough does not mean rejecting ambition or refusing progress. It does not mean lowering yourself to a life of deprivation. Instead, it means recognizing the point at which more no longer adds meaning and choosing to be satisfied with what you already have. In modern culture, we are bombarded with the opposite message. Every advertisement, every social media post, every new trend tells us you do not have enough. You are not enough. And if you just buy this one more thing or achieve this one more milestone, then you will be complete. This endless whispering fuels restlessness. We chase after what others display, and in the process we lose touch with the joy of simply being alive. Imagine two travelers climbing a mountain. One keeps pausing to look around, appreciating each step, each view, and feeling grateful for how far he has come. The other only stares at the peak above, muttering that he is not yet there, that he must climb faster, harder, more. When both reach the same point, who has lived more fully? The one who knew how to enjoy each step. Knowing what is enough is like walking the mountain path with peace, instead of constantly being driven by hunger for more. The opposite of knowing enough is insatiable desire. This desire is not limited to money or possessions. It can creep into relationships, careers, even personal identity. A person might endlessly seek validation from others, never feeling good enough. Another might constantly pursue status, never satisfied with their current success. This is a prison of the mind, one built not from bars, but from ceaseless craving. On the other hand, when you cultivate a sense of enough, you free yourself. Your home may not be the biggest, but it shelters you. Your clothes may not be the most fashionable, but they keep you warm. Your income may not be endless, but it sustains your life. When you can recognize sufficiency in these things, a deep contentment arises. This contentment is not fragile. It does not vanish when new trends appear. It grounds you, allowing you to savor life as it is. There is also a profound emotional stability that comes from knowing enough. People who never feel satisfied are like leaves blown in the wind, forever, at the mercy of new desires. People who know enough are like trees with deep roots. They are not easily shaken by the storm of comparisons, jealousy, or greed. This is why knowing enough leads to peace of mind. Think of the joy a child can find in a simple toy. To the child, it is more than enough to spark imagination and laughter, but as adults, we complicate happiness. We begin to believe that joy must come from bigger, newer, shinier things. Yet when we strip it down, the principle is the same. Joy is found not in the quantity of things, but in the quality of our attention to them. Consider the story of a man who spent his life chasing wealth. He accumulated houses, cars, and properties. From the outside, people admired him, but inside, he felt empty because no matter how much he had, there was always someone richer. Contrast that with a farmer who wakes at dawn, tends to his fields, eats a simple meal with his family, and sleeps in peace. Who knows joy more deeply? The farmer, because he knows what is enough. This idea does not mean that we should avoid striving altogether. Growth and ambition can be noble when they serve a purpose larger than the self. But growth without a sense of enough is never-ending hunger. Enough does not mean stagnation. It means choosing contentment along the journey rather than postponing happiness until some distant finish line. In your own life, you might ask, what would change if I decided that what I have today is enough? Not forever, not as an excuse to stop growing, but simply for today. How would it feel to see your home not as lacking but as shelter? To see your meals not as routine but as nourishment? To see your relationships not as incomplete but as precious companions on your journey? When you know enough, you open yourself to gratitude. Gratitude transforms ordinary days into celebrations. Gratitude makes simple meals taste rich, small homes feel spacious, and everyday interactions feel sacred. Gratitude and enough are two sides of the same coin, and together they create unshakable happiness. The Stoics placed great emphasis on the principle of sufficiency. Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." To them, poverty was not measured by the size of one's possessions, but by the size of one's desires. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself to appreciate what he already had, writing in his meditations about the beauty of simple things: a loaf of bread, the warmth of the sun, the presence of friends. In Stoic practice, the art of knowing enough is directly tied to freedom. A person who needs little is harder to control, harder to corrupt, and harder to disturb. True wealth, they taught, lies not in accumulation, but in contentment. To live by this wisdom is to cultivate a state of inner sufficiency, one that no loss, no comparison, and no external change can take away. There is a quiet magic in beginnings. Think of the first day at a new job. the first page of a fresh notebook, the first morning in a new city. In those moments, everything feels alive with possibility. You are attentive, curious, hopeful. You carry less of yesterday's weight because the future seems wide open. Now imagine living each day with that same spirit, not just on special occasions, not only when something dramatically changes, but every single morning. This is the essence of living, as if each day were a new beginning. It is a radical choice to release the past, soften the grip of the future, and meet the present with fresh eyes. Why is this so powerful? Because much of our unhappiness comes from being trapped in time. The past chains us with regret, guilt, or nostalgia. The future pulls us into worry, expectation, or fear. Very little of our suffering actually exists in the moment itself. It exists in our stories about what has already happened or what might happen next. When you approach today as a new beginning, you free yourself from those stories. Consider a person who made mistakes yesterday. Perhaps they spoke harshly to a loved one or failed at a task at work. If today is merely a continuation, then they may wake up carrying the same shame, seeing themselves only through the lens of failure. But if today is a new beginning, then they can choose again. They can apologize, try differently, or simply breathe with more kindness toward themselves. Each sunrise is a clean slate if we are willing to see it that way. Living this way also sparks curiosity. Think about how children experience the world. Every stone on the ground, every insect, every shadow on the wall is a source of wonder. Adults lose this because we assume we already know. We stop noticing. By treating today as a new beginning, we reclaim that childlike freshness. The ordinary becomes extraordinary again. The taste of bread, the sound of rain, the smile of a stranger. This mindset also cultivates resilience. Life will bring hardship. There will be losses, disappointments, and pain. But when you hold the belief that each day is a beginning, you don't get stuck forever in yesterday's sorrow. You carry the memory, but you also carry the freedom to start again. This doesn't erase grief. It honors it, but it also leaves room for hope. There is a practical side as well. Many of us wait to start living until conditions are perfect. I'll begin after I have more money, more time, more certainty. But tomorrow is never guaranteed. Living as if today is a beginning means daring to take even the smallest step now. Write a paragraph of the book you dream of creating. Call the friend you've been meaning to reach out to. Plant a seed in the soil. Life begins in these small beginnings, not in waiting for a grand moment. A useful practice is to literally pause each morning and say to yourself, "This is the first day of my life." Let it land in your body. Feel what it would be like if everything behind you had already been lived and released. What would you notice? How would you walk differently? What would you choose to do first? Imagine carrying that mindset into a conflict. Yesterday, you might have argued with a colleague or family member. If today is simply a continuation, then you bring yesterday's anger into the new day. But if today is a beginning, then you can choose to soften to see them again with fresh eyes to open the possibility of healing. Every day offers us the gift of renewal. We simply forget to unwrap it. The most remarkable thing about beginnings is that they do not depend on external change. You don't need to move to a new city or quit your job to live as if today is new. The renewal happens inside. It is a shift of perspective. You may wake in the same bed, in the same home, with the same responsibilities, but with a beginner's mind, the world feels different. Living this way does not mean ignoring the past or denying the future. It means holding them lightly. The past offers lessons, and the future invites planning, but neither needs to dominate the present moment. Each day is a stage where you can step forward as if for the first time, more alive, more aware, more open. So when you wake tomorrow, before your mind rushes into yesterday's burdens or tomorrow's to-do list pause, let the morning light remind you life is beginning again, and you are here, part of it. The Stoics often spoke of renewal as a daily practice. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." For him, each day was an opportunity to begin anew regardless of what had happened yesterday. This aligns with the Stoic teaching of focusing only on what lies within our control. The past is beyond us, the future uncertain, but the present moment is ours to shape. Epictetus advised begin each morning by saying to yourself today, "I will meet with interference, ingratitude, insolence. Yet none of these can harm me, if I remember that they cannot touch what lies within." To live each day as a new beginning is to claim this power, the power to reset, to choose again, to live deliberately in the present. A seed does not choose the soil in which it falls. It may land in rich, dark earth, tended by caring hands, watered and nourished, until it grows tall and strong. Or it may tumble into dry ground, squeezed between stones, forgotten by everyone. Yet again and again, we witness the miracle of life wildflowers, bursting through cracks in the pavement trees, stretching skyward from the side of cliffs, delicate blossoms dancing above harsh deserts. This image offers us one of life's most enduring lessons. We do not always control where we are planted, but we can choose how we bloom. Human beings, like seeds, are scattered by forces far beyond their will. Some are born into wealth, others into poverty, some into peace, others into war. Some inherit opportunities, others inherit burdens. The soil is never equal. Life is rarely fair. And yet history and daily life show us countless examples of people who found ways to grow, to thrive and to bloom despite being planted in unpromising places. To bloom gracefully does not mean ignoring hardship. It does not mean pretending the soil is fertile when it is not. It means facing reality with dignity and resilience, choosing to bring forth beauty even in barren ground. A wildflower growing on the roadside will never be as tall as a cultivated garden rose, but its quiet presence can lift the heart of a weary traveller passing by. Graceful blooming is not about comparison, it is about authenticity. Consider the person who loses a job. They could choose bitterness, telling themselves that life has treated them unfairly, closing their heart to new possibilities. Or they could choose to bloom, to treat the loss as a turning point, a chance to rediscover hidden passions, to build new skills, to connect with people they otherwise would not have met. The soil may be rocky, but the seed can still grow. Graceful blooming also means refusing to let the environment define your essence. A flower does not become less beautiful because it grows among weeds. A kind person does not lose their kindness simply because they are surrounded by cruelty. If anything, their kindness becomes more radiant, more necessary in difficult circumstances. The environment shapes us, but it does not have to dictate who we become. In practical life, blooming gracefully requires adaptability. Think of immigrants who leave behind their homelands with nothing but hope. They arrive in new countries where the language, culture, and customs are foreign. The soil is unfamiliar, often unwelcoming. And yet many build new lives, opening businesses, raising families, contributing to communities. Their resilience, their capacity to root in new ground and still flower is a testament to human strength. We can also see this principle in moments of personal loss. Imagine someone who has endured heartbreak. The temptation is to close off, to harden, to decide that love is no longer worth the risk. But to bloom gracefully is to remain open, to carry the scars with dignity, while still choosing to love again, to trust again, to share beauty with others. Of course, blooming requires patience. A seed does not sprout overnight. Conditions may be harsh. Progress may be so, but persistence matters. The crack in the concrete does not appear instantly. It is carved over time by the quiet insistence of life pushing upward. Likewise, our own growth in difficult conditions is often invisible day by day, until one morning we notice that we are standing taller, stronger, and more radiant than before. The most graceful blooms are not those that shout for attention, but those that simply embody their essence. A flower does not strain to be admired. It blooms because blooming is what it was made to do. In the same way, we do not bloom to impress others, but because living fully, authentically, and kindly is the truest expression of who we are. So wherever life has planted you, whether in a bustling city or a quiet village, in a season of joy or in a season of pain, ask yourself, what does blooming gracefully look like here? It might mean showing compassion in a hostile workplace, staying patient during uncertainty, or bringing hope to someone else's darkness. Blooming is not always loud or visible. Sometimes it is as simple as holding your dignity, your kindness, your faith, even when the soil feels barren. The Stoics often taught that circumstances do not define our flourishing, our choices do. Epictetus, born into slavery, understood this deeply. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. He was planted in the harshest soil, yet his teachings still bloom centuries later. Marcus Aurelius, burdened by constant wars and political strife, reminded himself that even in an unjust world, he could still act justly. For the Stoics, to bloom gracefully is to live with virtue regardless of external conditions. Justice, courage, self-control, and wisdom are the blossoms of the human soul. Whether planted in comfort or in hardship, these virtues can grow. And like wildflowers breaking through stone, their presence not only sustains us, but brings beauty to those who encounter us along the way. In a world that praises speed, noise, and accumulation, simplicity often seems overlooked, even unfashionable. Yet simplicity has always carried within it a quiet, enduring power, the power to reveal joy where we least expect it. To embrace simplicity is to recognize that the most profound pleasures in life are not found in excess, but in the essentials experienced with presence. Think of the taste of fresh bread still warm from the oven. Think of the sound of rain tapping against a window while you sit safely inside. Think of a shared laugh with someone you love. None of these require wealth, status, or spectacle. They are small, ordinary, simple moments, and yet, when we truly notice them, they fill the heart more deeply than the grandest luxury. Why is simplicity so joyful? Because it clears away the clutter that blocks our view of what really matters. Much of modern life is built on distraction. We are told to buy more, do more, consume more. But more often leads to less peace, less focus, less presence. Simplicity is the art of subtraction. It is choosing to release the unnecessary so that the essential can shine. Consider a room filled with too many objects, every surface crowded, every corner stuffed. It is hard to breathe, hard to rest. Now imagine the same room with only what is needed: a chair, a lamp, a window open to sunlight. Suddenly, there is space. Simplicity in life is like that. When we strip away excess possessions, unnecessary obligations, or endless distractions, we create room for peace and joy to enter. Simplicity is not just about things, it is also about mindset. It is about learning to see beauty in the ordinary. It is about slowing down enough to notice. Walking through a park without headphones, you hear birdsong. Eating a meal without scrolling through your phone, you taste more fully. Speaking to a friend without rushing, you hear the tone of their voice, the pauses between words. Simplicity opens us to depth. There is also freedom in simplicity. When our lives are overstuffed, whether with things, schedules, or desires, we are weighed down. We become servants to maintenance debt or stress. But when we live simply, we carry less, and so we move more freely. Think of a traveller with a light backpack able to take any road compared to one dragging multiple suitcases. Simplicity allows us to live more lightly, and in that lightness, joy naturally arises. Some people fear simplicity as if it means deprivation, but simplicity is not poverty, nor is it denial. It is not about stripping life bare of colour or pleasure. Rather, it is about making intentional choices. It is choosing one good book over 100 unread, one meaningful friendship over dozens of shallow connections, one nourishing meal over endless indulgence. Simplicity does not shrink life, it deepens it. In fact, simplicity sharpens gratitude. When life is simplified, we notice each gift more fully. A glass of water on a hot day feels like a blessing. A quiet evening at home feels like abundance. Gratitude is easier to access when life is not crowded with distractions. The fewer things we scatter our attention on, the more vividly we can appreciate the few that matter most. Stories of joy in simplicity are everywhere. A family eating together at a wooden table, laughter echoing through a modest home. A monk sitting cross-legged, sipping tea in silence. A child chasing a butterfly across an empty field. These moments are not glamorous, but they are luminous. They remind us that joy is not hidden in extraordinary events, but embedded in the ordinary rhythm of life, if only we slow down enough to see it. To practice simplicity in your own life, start small. Choose to do one thing at a time instead of many. Create a corner of your home that is uncluttered, a space for rest. Turn off devices for a few hours and be present with someone you love. Eat slowly, breathe slowly, walk without hurry. These practices seem almost too simple, but their simplicity is exactly what makes them powerful. The joy of simplicity is not loud or dramatic. It is steady, quiet, and enduring. In a world constantly demanding more simplicity, whispers, "You already have enough. Slow down, look around." Happiness is here in this moment. The Stoics valued simplicity not as deprivation, but as liberation. Epictetus lived with almost nothing, yet his teachings radiated freedom and clarity. Seneca, though wealthy, often reminded himself to practice simple living, writing, "It is not the man who has little, but he who desires more that is poor." By returning to simplicity, they believed we discover sufficiency, and with it peace. Marcus Aurelius, despite being emperor, reflected often on the beauty of simple things: bread, baking figs, ripening animals, moving gracefully. For the Stoics, these ordinary sights held more truth than the extravagances of power. To live simply was to align with nature, to shed unnecessary burdens, and to focus on virtue above all else. Simplicity in Stoic philosophy is not an absence, but a fullness, the fullness of living lightly, gratefully, and in harmony with what is already enough. Gratitude is one of the simplest practices in life, yet one of the most transformative. At first glance, it may seem ordinary saying thank you, keeping a gratitude journal, pausing to appreciate small things. But beneath its simplicity lies immense power. Gratitude shifts the way we see the world. It does not change our circumstances, but it changes how we inhabit them. Think of two people walking through the same park. One is preoccupied with their phone, thinking of deadlines and frustrations. They pass trees, flowers, and sunlight without noticing. The other walks with open eyes, marveling at the shade of green in the leaves, the warmth of light on their skin, the sound of laughter nearby. Same park, same environment, yet one feels weighed down, the other feels uplifted. The difference is gratitude. Gratitude works like a lens. When you look through it, what was once ordinary becomes extraordinary. A meal is not just food, but nourishment. A conversation is not just words, but connection. Even challenges become teachers when viewed with grateful eyes. Gratitude doesn't deny hardship. It simply refuses to let hardship eclipse all that is still good. One of gratitude's greatest gifts is its ability to anchor us in the present. Many of us drift into if only thinking, if only I had more money, more time, a different job, a better relationship, then I'd be happy. Gratitude interrupts this pattern. It reminds us, look, there is already enough here now. Gratitude turns the spotlight from what is missing to what is present. Consider waking up in the morning. You might groan about the tasks ahead, the stresses waiting, but gratitude invites a different approach. You open your eyes and whisper, "Thank you for this bed. Thank you for the chance to breathe another day. Thank you for the people in my life." With this perspective, even before the day begins, you have already touched joy. There is also scientific support for gratitude's power. Research shows that regular gratitude practice lowers stress, boosts immunity, and increases overall well-being. People who cultivate gratitude sleep better, experience more positive emotions, and report stronger relationships. Why? Because gratitude trains the mind to notice abundance instead of scarcity, possibilities instead of obstacles. Gratitude also strengthens resilience. When difficulties arise, those who practice gratitude are better equipped to cope. They don't deny the pain, but they balance it with perspective. A person facing illness might still say, "I'm thankful for the support of friends. I am thankful for the doctors helping me. I am thankful for the strength I didn't know I had." Gratitude doesn't erase suffering, but it adds courage to endure it. It is important to understand that gratitude is not passive. It does not mean sitting quietly and forcing yourself to be content with injustice or mediocrity. Gratitude coexists with striving. You can be grateful for today while still working for a better tomorrow. The difference is that your striving arises from abundance, not from emptiness. There is also an elegance in expressing gratitude to others. A sincere thank you can transform relationships. It acknowledges the humanity in the other person, affirming that their efforts matter. Gratitude builds trust, deepens bonds, and creates a ripple effect. People who receive gratitude often feel inspired to pass it on. In this way, gratitude multiplies itself, weaving invisible threads of connection between us. Practicing gratitude does not have to be complicated. Begin with 3 simple steps. Notice small things: the taste of water when you are thirsty, the comfort of shade on a hot day, the kindness of a stranger. Write them down. A short list in a notebook each evening helps remind you of abundance. Express them. Tell someone you appreciate them. Send a message. Speak it out loud. Gratitude grows stronger when shared. Gratitude also thrives in contrast. When you pause to remember that life is fragile, that health can change, that relationships are not permanent, that time is fleeting. You realize how precious the present is. In that awareness, gratitude becomes almost unavoidable. At its core, gratitude is a choice. It is choosing to see gifts where others see nothing. It is choosing to celebrate life, not just endure it. And in that choice lies extraordinary power, the power to turn even an ordinary day into something luminous. The Stoics often practice gratitude as a discipline. Marcus Aurelius began many reflections by appreciating simple things: bread baking, figs, ripening the loyalty of friends. He understood that gratitude for the ordinary could anchor him amidst the chaos of ruling an empire. Seneca urged his students to rehearse gratitude writing, that no man can be truly happy if he takes blessings for granted. For the Stoics, gratitude was tied to their larger philosophy focus on what is within your control. You cannot control fate, but you can control whether you notice life's gifts. You cannot command fortune, but you can command appreciation. Gratitude, then, is a form of wisdom. It is recognizing that every day, every breath, every moment is borrowed, and that to thank life for it is to live it fully. There is a kind of wealth that cannot be measured in coins or possessions. It is the wealth of a calm and steady mind. Peace of mind is not the absence of problems. It is the presence of balance in the middle of them. It is the ability to walk through the storms of life without being swept away. In today's world, peace of mind feels increasingly rare. News feeds overwhelm us with tragedy. Social media bombards us with comparisons. Work demands never stop. Even when the body rests, the mind keeps racing. Many people lie awake at night, not because of physical hardship, but because of the noise inside their heads. We chase solutions in entertainment, in possessions, in distractions, but the deeper longing is for stillness within. Peace of mind begins with perspective. When difficulties arise, most of us narrow our vision. We obsess over the immediate problem, inflating it until it fills the entire horizon. But with a calm mind, the horizon widens. You see the problem, yes, but you also see the bigger picture. What feels unbearable in the moment becomes manageable when viewed against the vastness of life. Take the example of a firefighter entering a burning building. To an untrained person, the panic would be overwhelming flame, smoke, chaos. But a firefighter is trained to slow their breath scan carefully and take deliberate steps. Their calm does not come from ignoring danger, but from meeting it with steadiness. In everyday life, we face our own fires, conflicts at work, health scares, financial strain. The same principle applies. Peace of mind does not mean pretending there is no danger. It means refusing to let fear control your response. Peace of mind also requires letting go of control. Much of our stress comes from resisting reality, wanting people to behave differently, wanting outcomes we cannot guarantee. When we cling tightly to control, we are constantly disappointed. The paradox is that by surrendering control over what we cannot change, we regain control over how we respond. That is where peace lives, not in bending the world to our will, but in shaping our inner response to the world. Another doorway to peace is presence. The mind often suffers more from memory and imagination than from reality. We replay past mistakes again and again, or we worry endlessly about the future. But right now, in this breath, in this very moment, there is often no crisis. There is just life unfolding. Peace of mind emerges when we return to this present, when we allow ourselves to rest in what is happening now instead of what has already passed or has not yet come. Simplicity too nurtures peace. A life overcrowded with commitments, possessions, and distractions creates constant noise. Simplifying doesn't just create space on your calendar or in your home. It creates space in your mind, with fewer demands pulling you in every direction. You can actually breathe. You can focus on what matters. Peace is less about what you add and more about what you remove. It is important to note that peace of mind is not passivity. It does not mean refusing to act, ignoring injustice, or withdrawing from life. It means acting from clarity instead of chaos. Imagine two leaders facing a crisis. One panics, lashes out, and makes rash decisions. The other remains steady, listens carefully, and responds thoughtfully. Both are active, but only one leads from peace of mind. How can you cultivate this peace in daily life? Begin with small practices. Spend time in silence. Even a few minutes without noise allows the mind to settle. Choose what to let in. Limit exposure to unnecessary negativity, news, gossip, endless comparison. Return to nature. A walk outdoors often restores balance more effectively than hours of distraction. Peace of mind is like a garden. If neglected, weeds of worry and distraction take over. But if tended regularly with patience, stillness, and care, it flourishes. The reward is not just personal comfort, but the ability to bring calm into the lives of others. A peaceful person becomes an anchor for those around them. In a world of noise, to carry peace of mind is a radical act. It is to say, I will not let chaos steal my clarity. I will not let fear dictate my life. I will live from the quiet center within me, and from that center, true strength grows. For the Stoics, peace of mind, ataraxia, was the natural fruit of wisdom. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself that external events cannot touch the mind unless we allow them. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." This teaching is the essence of peace, to separate what is within our control from what is not, and to release the latter. Seneca warned against being tossed about like a ship without a rudder by uncontrolled emotions. To him, peace of mind was the steady hand on the helm. Epictetus taught that disturbances come not from events themselves, but from our judgments about them. When we see clearly, we calm the storm within. To practice Stoicism is to tend the garden of the mind, so that even in turbulent times, one can dwell in unshakable peace. One of the greatest sources of inner conflict is the gap between who we really are and who we pretend to be. Many of us wear masks at work, in friendships, even within our families. We adjust ourselves to fit expectations, to gain approval, or to avoid rejection. On the surface, it may look like we are thriving, but beneath there is a quiet erosion of peace. To live out of alignment with ourselves is to live in constant tension. Living true to yourself means closing that gap. It means aligning your outer life with your inner values. It does not require rebellion for its own sake, nor selfish disregard for others. Rather, it asks for honesty, to know what you believe, what matters to you, and to live in a way that reflects those truths, even if it means standing apart. Why is this so difficult? Because society is loud. It tells us what success should look like. Wealth, popularity, appearance, achievement. From childhood, we are measured by standards set by others, grades, trophies, job titles, social approval. Over time, we can forget to ask the deeper questions. What do I value? What kind of life feels meaningful to me? When those questions go unanswered, we risk living someone else's story instead of our own. Imagine a musician who loves quiet melodies, but chooses to play only popular hits, because that's what the crowd demands. They may gain applause, but inside they feel hollow. Or think of someone who longs to work with children, but pursues a high-paying corporate career, because that is what their family expects. Outwardly, they appear successful. Inwardly, they carry a sense of betrayal against themselves. Living true to yourself requires courage. It may mean disappointing others, challenging expectations, or risking rejection. But the alternative, living a lie, is more costly. No external validation can compensate for the exhaustion of pretending. When you betray yourself to please others, you lose the foundation of joy. When you honor yourself, even in small ways, you reclaim freedom. It is important to note that authenticity does not mean indulging every impulse. Living true to yourself is not about selfishness or recklessness. It is about integrity. Integrity comes from the word integer, meaning whole. To live with integrity is to live whole, to allow your values, words, and actions to form a consistent, honest pattern. How do you begin? Start by noticing where you feel friction. Where do you say yes when your heart says no? Where do you pretend to care when you don't? Where do you hide your true feelings because you fear judgment? These are signals pointing to places where you are out of alignment. Then take small steps toward truth. If you value family, carve out time for them, even when work pressures loom. If you value creativity, make space for it, even if no one applauds. If you value kindness, let it guide your choices, even when others mock you for being too soft. Each honest choice strengthens your integrity. Another step is to embrace vulnerability. Authenticity requires the courage to be seen as you are without the mask. This can feel risky, but it is also liberating. When people accept you for who you truly are, the bond is deeper and more nourishing. And if some do not accept you, at least you are no longer trapped by false approval. Living true to yourself also means accepting imperfection. You will make mistakes, you will change your mind, you will evolve. That too is part of authenticity. It is not about being perfectly consistent forever. It is about being honest in the present moment, honoring your current values and growth. History and literature are full of examples of those who dared to live authentically. Socrates chose to die rather than betray his principles. Writers, artists, and reformers across ages have endured rejection because they refuse to silence their truths. Their courage inspires because it reminds us to live authentically may be costly, but the cost of living falsely is far greater. Ultimately, authenticity brings peace. When your life reflects who you really are, you no longer need to juggle masks. You are no longer split between inner truth and outer image. There is relief in that unity, and from that relief grows joy. The joy of knowing that you are living your own life, not someone else's. So ask yourself, if I were to live more truthfully today, what would change? What small mask could I set down? What choice would honor the person I truly am? The Stoics taught that living in harmony with nature meant living in harmony with your own nature, your reason, your conscience, your inner truth. Epictetus urged his students, first say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do. For him, authenticity was not an abstract ideal, but a daily practice of aligning action with principle. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself to ignore the noise of public opinion. It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own. To the Stoics, seeking external approval was a trap. True freedom lay in acting with virtue, regardless of applause or criticism. To live true to yourself in their view was to live with integrity, guided not by the shifting winds of others, but by the steady compass of wisdom and virtue. One of the hardest truths for the human heart to embrace is this: nothing lasts forever. Every relationship, every season, every success, even life itself is subject to change. Impermanence is woven into the fabric of existence. Leaves fall, waves break, children grow, friends move away. We often live as if things will remain just as they are, but the reality is constant transformation. At first glance, impermanence feels threatening. We cling to what we love, afraid of losing it. We resist change, hoping to freeze life in place. But the more we resist, the more suffering we create. Accepting impermanence is not about indifference. It is about seeing reality clearly. And in that clarity, paradoxically, there is freedom and peace. Think of a sunset. Its beauty is inseparable from its brevity. We do not cry as the sun sinks because we know it must. Its fleeting nature deepens our appreciation. The same is true of life. The awareness that nothing lasts forever makes the present more precious. Without impermanence, there would be no urgency to cherish, no sweetness in memory, no value in love. When we deny impermanence, we set ourselves up for despair. A person who believes their youth will last forever will suffer greatly when age arrives. Someone who expects their career to always remain stable will panic when changes come. A person who assumes relationships will never shift may be devastated by inevitable transitions. By contrast, the one who accepts impermanence walks through these seasons with more grace. Loss still hurts, but it does not shatter them. Acceptance also allows us to release regrets. Many carry the weight of past mistakes, wishing desperately to undo what cannot be undone. But impermanence applies to pain as well. Just as joy fades, sorrow fades too. When we accept this, we stop holding on to wounds as if they define us. We realize every moment is passing and with it the chance for renewal. Impermanence also teaches us humility. No matter how powerful or wealthy we become, time levels us all. Empires fall, fame fades, bodies weaken. To embrace this is not despair, it is wisdom. It reminds us to invest in what endures beyond time, kindness, virtue, love, and the impact we leave on others' hearts. There is great tenderness in living with impermanence. Imagine sitting with an elderly parent. If you pretend they will be here forever, you may take their presence for granted. But if you accept that their time is finite, each conversation, each shared meal becomes sacred. Impermanence is not the enemy of love. It is what makes love urgent and beautiful. Practically accepting impermanence means loosening our grip. Instead of clutching at possessions we use and enjoy them, knowing they will one day wear out. Instead of demanding relationships stay the same, we allow them to evolve. Instead of fearing change in ourselves, we meet it as part of growth. In doing so, we trade fear for fluidity. Buddhist teachings often compare life to a river, always flowing, never the same from moment to moment. To try to stop the river is impossible, but to float with it, to swim in its current, is to experience its beauty without resistance. Life becomes less about control and more about harmony. None of this is easy. We are wired to attach. We are wired to resist loss. But each small act of acceptance strengthens our resilience. Watching the seasons turn can remind us. Practicing gratitude for what is here right now can soften our grip. Even pausing to say, this too will pass in moments of both joy and pain can anchor us in truth. Ultimately, impermanence is not a curse. It is a teacher. It whispers, cherish what you have. Let go when the time comes. Do not cling, for clinging blinds you to the gift of now. The Stoics were deeply aware of impermanence. Marcus Aurelius reflected constantly on mortality, reminding himself, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do say and think. This practice, memento mori, was not meant to breed fear, but urgency and presence. Epictetus advised acceptance of loss by remembering that everything is borrowed. Never say of anything, I have lost it, but I have returned it. A loved one, a possession, even life itself, none were ours to keep forever. By living with this perspective, they found freedom from fear. For the Stoics, impermanence was the backdrop against which virtue shone brightest. Knowing that all things fade, they asked what will endure. Their answer was clear: only the quality of our character, the wisdom of our actions, and the love we offer in the time we are given. Life does not spare anyone from hardship. Illness, failure, betrayal, loss. These visit every human being at some point. We cannot choose whether adversity arrives, but we can choose how we respond. Some people collapse under the weight of struggle, while others emerge from the same struggle stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. The difference lies in perspective. Adversity can be an enemy, or it can be a teacher. Think of the way metal is forged. Raw ore must be placed in fire, hammered and cooled repeatedly. Only through this painful process does it gain strength and resilience. In the same way, adversity tempers the human spirit. It strips away illusions, reveals hidden reserves of courage, and shapes us into who we are capable of becoming. Consider someone who loses their job. At first, the blow feels devastating. The security is gone, identity shaken, confidence eroded. Yet many people later look back and say, that was the turning point. Perhaps the loss pushed them to pursue a passion long ignored. Perhaps it forced them to develop resourcefulness, humility, or gratitude. What seemed like an ending became a beginning. The same pattern emerges in stories of people who endure physical illness. A diagnosis can shatter one's sense of control, but countless survivors describe how illness awakened them to life's fragility, deepened their relationships, and clarified their priorities. Adversity does not automatically produce growth, but if met with openness, it can reveal strength we never suspected we had. The key lies in attitude. If we see adversity only as punishment, we resist it, resent it, and let bitterness grow. But if we see it as challenge, as a test of character, then even pain becomes purposeful. The question shifts from why me to what can I learn? How can I grow? This shift does not erase hardship, but it transforms suffering into meaning. History abounds with examples. Nelson Mandela, imprisoned for 27 years, emerged not broken, but magnified, carrying forgiveness and vision for his country. Helen Keller, who lost both sight and hearing, became a symbol of perseverance and hope. These figures remind us adversity cannot dictate our destiny unless we surrender to it. Even in everyday life, the principle holds. A failed exam can teach resilience and better preparation. A broken friendship can teach empathy and forgiveness. A financial setback can teach discipline and gratitude. Adversity approached with courage plants seeds of strength that success alone never could. Still, transformation does not happen instantly. When pain is fresh, it is natural to feel overwhelmed. To transform adversity, one must first allow space to grieve. Pretending not to hurt only deepens the wound. Healing begins when we acknowledge the pain and then gradually ask, what can this experience give me, instead of only take from me? Another tool is perspective. Imagine holding a pebble close to your eye. It blocks your entire vision. Move it farther away, and you see both the pebble and the horizon. Adversity feels unbearable when it consumes our entire focus. But when we step back, we see it in context, one chapter in a longer story. Time often reveals that what once seemed disastrous was only a detour. Support also plays a role. Adversity isolates us when we believe we must endure alone. Yet strength grows in community. A kind word, a listening ear, a shared story of survival. These remind us that hardship is universal and resilience is possible. Ultimately, transforming adversity into strength requires patience. Growth is rarely visible in the moment. It is like the slow healing of a bone or the quiet sprouting of a seed underground. But with time, struggle can yield character courage and wisdom, the invisible muscles of the soul. So the next time adversity visits, ask not only, how do I survive this, but also, how might this shape me into someone stronger, someone truer, someone more alive? In that question lies the power to turn life's harshest blows into life's greatest teachers. For the Stoics, adversity was not a curse, but an opportunity. Epictetus, born a slave and later crippled, taught that hardship is the training ground of virtue. Difficulties show a man to himself. Seneca wrote that just as fire proves gold, adversity proves character. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself in Meditations, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. This is the essence of Stoic resilience. Obstacles are not obstructions, but raw material for growth. A Stoic does not wish for a life free of hardship. They wish for the strength to meet hardship well. In this view, every adversity is a chance to cultivate patience, courage, humility, and wisdom. When faced with life's trials, the Stoic asks, how can this make me better? And in that question, strength is born. If you ask people what makes life meaningful, their answers will rarely center on possessions or achievements. Instead, they speak of family, friendships, shared moments, and love. Human beings are wired for connection. From birth, we thrive on the warmth of a caregiver's touch. Throughout life, we seek belonging, companionship, and intimacy. Happiness at its core is less about what we own and more about who we share life with. Yet modern culture often distorts this truth. We are told that independence, self-sufficiency, and individual success are the ultimate goals. We admire the self-made person, the lone achiever. But research and experience both show isolation breeds despair. Loneliness is as damaging to health as smoking or obesity. Even wealth and success lose their meaning when there is no one to celebrate with. Connection does not mean surrounding yourself with crowds. It is not measured by the number of social media followers or the size of your social circle. True connection is about depth, not breadth. It is the feeling of being seen and accepted as you are, and the ability to extend that same gift to others. One sincere friendship outweighs 100 shallow interactions. Think of a time you laughed uncontrollably with someone close, or the quiet comfort of sitting beside a loved one in silence. These are the moments that imprint themselves on memory. They require no luxury, only presence. Happiness blossoms in these small acts of connection, where hearts meet without pretense. Connection also requires vulnerability. To be truly known, we must risk being truly seen. Many people guard themselves behind walls of perfection or performance, fearing rejection. But walls keep out love as well as pain. When we dare to open to share our flaws and fears, we invite intimacy. It is in this raw honesty that bonds deepen. At the same time, connection demands giving. Happiness is not only about receiving love, but offering it, listening fully, supporting others, showing kindness. In fact, Studies show that acts of generosity light up the brain's reward centers, increasing our own happiness. When we give sincerely, we are enriched, not diminished. Consider the example of communities during crisis. After natural disasters, neighbors often come together sharing resources, checking on one another, offering comfort. Strangers become friends, bonded by shared struggle. In those moments, happiness does not come from possessions many have lost everything but from solidarity. It is the reminder that we are not alone. Another truth is that connection grounds us in our humanity. In a world obsessed with competition, it reminds us that we are interdependent. Every meal involves the labor of countless unseen hands. Every building, every piece of technology, every book is the product of shared effort across time. To feel connected is to recognize this web of mutual reliance. Gratitude grows naturally when we see how deeply we depend on each other. Connection also protects against despair. When life feels overwhelming, having someone who listens can mean the difference between collapse and resilience. Happiness does not require that problems vanish. It requires knowing we do not face them alone. A shared burden becomes lighter. A shared joy becomes magnified. Cultivating connection takes effort. It means carving out time for the people who matter, even when schedules are busy. It means putting away devices to give undivided attention. It means forgiving, reconciling, and choosing to invest in bonds that nurture. Like a garden, relationships thrive when tended and wither when neglected. The beauty of connection is that it multiplies. When you show kindness to one person, they are more likely to pass it on. When you share gratitude, it inspires others to do the same. One genuine connection ripples outward, touching lives far beyond what you can see. In the end, happiness as connection reminds us we are not solitary beings drifting through life. We are threads in a vast tapestry woven together. And the more we strengthen these threads with love, compassion, and authenticity, the richer the fabric of our lives becomes. The Stoics, often misperceived as solitary, actually emphasize the importance of connection. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "We were born for cooperation, like feet, like hands, like eyelids." To him, human beings were parts of a greater whole, and harmony with others was a natural duty. Epictetus reminded his students to approach others with compassion, recognizing that every person struggles with their own burdens. Seneca urged generosity and friendship, calling them the true treasures of life. For the Stoics, connection was not about clinging, but about living in accordance with nature, as social creatures meant to give and receive. In Stoic practice, happiness was inseparable from community. Virtue itself, justice, kindness, wisdom was exercised in relation to others. To connect with sincerity was both a moral duty and a path to joy. In this sense, happiness as connection was not optional. It was essential to the flourishing of the human soul. Most people live with an if-then script in their minds. If I get this promotion, then I'll be happy. If I buy this house, then I'll feel secure. If I find the perfect partner, then my life will be complete. This mindset places happiness somewhere in the future, always just out of reach. But here's the problem. When the promotion comes, new stresses arrive. When the house is bought new, desires emerge. When the relationship begins, new challenges surface. The destination we longed for quickly shifts, and happiness is postponed again. True happiness cannot be postponed. It is not a distant point on the horizon. It is the way we walk. To treat happiness as a destination is to chase a mirage endlessly thirsty. To treat happiness as a journey is to drink from the stream along the way. Imagine two travelers. One rushes forward, eyes fixed only on the mountain peak, frustrated by every delay. The other notices wildflowers on the path, listens to birds' rests, to admire the valley. Both may reach the summit, but only one has lived fully along the way. This is the essence of happiness, as journey not denying goals, but refusing to sacrifice today's joy for tomorrow's promise. Why is this so vital? Because life itself is impermanent. If happiness is always postponed until the next achievement, we risk reaching the end of life, having never truly lived. The elderly often reflect that their fondest memories are not the awards or possessions, but the simple daily experiences, dinners with family, quiet mornings, shared laughter. They remind us that the big moments are rare. It is the journey of ordinary days that makes up the bulk of life. Happiness as a journey also changes how we approach struggle. If life is only about the destination, then obstacles feel like enemies delaying us. But if life is about the journey, obstacles become part of the story. They are detours that shape the path, teaching patience, resilience, and creativity. In this way, even difficulties contribute to happiness because they add texture and meaning to the experience. This perspective requires presence. Too often we rush through moments in pursuit of the next. We eat without tasting talk, without listening work, without resting. To see happiness as a journey is to slow down, to taste your meal, to notice your breath, to savor the company of a friend. These are not trivial details, they are the journey itself. It also requires letting go of comparison. If happiness is a destination, then life becomes a race: who gets there first, who gets the best. But if happiness is a journey, there is no competition. Each path is unique, and the beauty lies in walking it authentically, not in measuring against others. Happiness as journey invites gratitude. Every step, every moment is an opportunity to notice what is already present: health, relationships, beauty lessons. Gratitude transforms the ordinary road into a sacred pilgrimage. Even when the road is rough, gratitude allows us to see the value of each step. Of course, this does not mean abandoning goals. Dreams and ambitions matter, they give direction. But the secret is to hold them lightly, knowing that the point is not to arrive as quickly as possible, but to live deeply along the way. Success is sweeter when savoured, not when rushed through. So ask yourself, am I postponing happiness until I arrive? Or am I allowing myself to experience it as I go? If you find yourself waiting for the next milestone, pause. Look around. The journey is happening now. And these breaths, these relationships, these experiences is where happiness lives. The Stoics consistently reminded themselves that happiness is found in the practice of living well, not in distant outcomes. Seneca wrote, "True happiness is to enjoy the present, without anxious dependence upon the future." For him, the journey, the daily practice of virtue, was itself the reward. Marcus Aurelius urged presence in meditations. Confine yourself to the present. He understood that waiting for happiness at some future point was futile, because the future is never guaranteed. Epictetus taught the same happiness comes not from external milestones, but from inner alignment with nature and reason. To the Stoics, life was not a race to some endpoint, but a continuous practice of wisdom, justice, courage, and moderation. Each step, each day, was an opportunity to embody virtue. In that steady walk, happiness was not postponed, it was lived. Happiness is often portrayed as something distant, something to be won after years of striving, or something granted only to the lucky few. Yet when we look closely, we see that it is far simpler, far nearer. It does not dwell in possession status or the approval of others. It lives in our daily choices, in how we see how we act, and how we relate to the world around us. Across these 12 reflections, a theme emerges. Happiness is an inner practice, not an external prize. It is found in knowing what is enough in meeting each day as a new beginning, in blooming gracefully wherever life places us. It is nurtured through simplicity, gratitude, peace of mind, and authenticity. It flourishes in connection with others, and it deepens when we accept impermanence and transform adversity into strength. Ultimately, happiness is not a destination waiting at the end of the road, it is the way we travel. The Stoics, whose wisdom has endured centuries, echo this truth. They remind us that we cannot control fortune, but we can control our perspective. We cannot prevent loss, but we can live with virtue. We cannot stop impermanence, but we can meet it with grace. For them, happiness is not about avoiding hardship, but about cultivating resilience, clarity, and love in the midst of it. So perhaps the invitation is this: stop postponing happiness. Stop waiting until you have more, until conditions are perfect, until you arrive at some imagined destination. Look around. Joy is available here, in the breath you are taking, in the people near you, in the opportunity to live this very moment. Tomorrow, when you wake, pause for just a moment. Let the morning remind you life is beginning again. Ask yourself, how can I bloom gracefully today? How can I live truly, simply gratefully? And as you reflect, I invite you to share your thoughts in the comments. What does happiness mean to you right now in your own life? If these reflections have spoken to you, consider subscribing so we can continue walking this journey together. After all, happiness is not meant to be walked alone, but shared step by step, day by day.